Hello everyone, welcome back to Just Invest Today, and today we're going to talk about the new Warren Buffett interview that he did with CNBC Becky. Guys, he talks about why he sold TSM, and this is super important. You know I have a big position in China, man. I own JD.com, Tencent, Alibaba. Anytime someone talks about these companies, I'm all ears. We're also going to listen to Mohnish Pabrai and what he thinks about Alibaba, what he thinks about Tencent. He talks about them in his new interview as well, and we're gonna get the breakdown on all of that, and I'm gonna give you my commentary, guys. So let's get into this video. But before we do, like and subscribe to my channel. Please like and subscribe. So Warren Buffett was buying TSM in Q3 2022. He bought around a 1%, 1.5% position in this company. And we know about TSM and its moat. I think that's one of the main reasons why Warren Buffett bought this company. It's so dominant in the semiconductor space. He owns Apple. He knows how important the company is to Apple and just any company that's in that semiconductor space that needs semiconductors. So he bought that position, and it was cheap at the time, around like $70, $60. So that was an amazing position, and everyone was super surprised about this position. You know what's happening with TSM and Taiwan and China and how this fear of war, and that was like crazy because we didn't think that he was going to buy into that space. That sent the stock up 5 to 10%. Then he sold in Q4 2022, which was a shocker. No one expected him to sell that fast because Warren Buffett likes to hold these companies for the long term. For him to sell that fast, that means there's something very wrong with the company. Something's up, something changed in this thesis. So that got us all suspicious. And now Warren Buffett came out and told us why he sold his position in TSM. And it was pretty much due to geopolitical reasons. Warren Buffett called geopolitical tensions a consideration in Berkshire Hathaway's decision to sell most of its stake in Taiwanese chip maker TSMC just a few months after buying it. We understand the big geopolitical tensions happening right now, and this is how I'm kind of looking at it, and this is how it's going to affect China overall. We see what China is doing to Taiwan and how people are worried about the war. There's just been speculations that China's kind of surrounding Taiwan with different military exercises, and they're kind of going into the airspace as well. So there's a lot happening with Taiwan. And how is this going to affect our companies in JD.com, Alibaba, and Tencent? We don't know for sure. Maybe in the next 2 to 3 years something happens. Who knows? But I'm still willing to hold tight and kind of get over this risk because we still know that Tencent, JD.com, Alibaba is super cheap at these prices. But it comes to question, why did he make this decision? Because think about it, these geopolitical risks were still in question before he bought his stake. So what changed that dramatically that he's just so quick to sell? Think about this too. He still owns BYD, like a 9-10% stake. He's been selling it off, but still, he still owns BYD. That's in China. So are you telling me there's no risk there? Why doesn't he just sell all of his BYD stake right away? That's how I know this risk is not as important as he's saying it is. Plus, he still owns a big stake in Apple. Apple uses Taiwan Semiconductor's chips in a lot of its phones. So that's like, what? If this risk is what he's really worried about, that would kill a lot of sales in iPhones. Apple sells a big portion of its phones in China. Plus, Apple designs a lot of its phones in China. So it just doesn't really make sense. That would cause a huge systematic risk for Apple in the next 4 to 5 years. You can see its earnings just plummeting at least 20, 30, 40%. And they're not going to be able to just make that crazy transition right away. They're trying to move away from China and go to India, but that's still going to take a lot of time. That doesn't take 2-3 years. That's going to like a 4 or 5 year process. So I don't believe that it's just this China risk that is causing this big sell-off, in my opinion. Now let's get into Mohnish Pabrai.
This one is it's a more question, but it is. It involves your investment thesis or your investment approach to your Chinese investments. Has it changed? Has it evolved given what's happening with the fundamentals of the Chinese economy?
Yeah, I think China is for me, I think it's a difficult place to invest. I think that we only have really one investment. I mean, we have a tiny amount of Alibaba left, which is a mistake, but the one investment, South African company called Process, but ineffective in Tencent. I mean, we still own it. I think Tencent is a very remarkable business. But there are aspects of that business which are difficult for someone like me to figure out how the Chinese government does them.
So basically, Mohnish Pabrai states that he doesn't know how the Chinese government is going to react to Alibaba or Tencent or the regulations they're going to put on that company. So he's not as excited about those companies. But in my opinion, I think the government is doing all it can to support these companies now that the government's coming out saying that we support the economy, we support the future of all these technology companies. So I'm super excited about the future of Alibaba and Tencent. I still think the government is really supporting it. Why would they hurt these companies? And clearly Mohnish Pabrai is willing to sell his Tencent/Prosus position right away if he finds something better. So he's not inclined to hold this company at all. So that just goes to show you he doesn't like China. He doesn't like Tencent as much as he thought when he first purchased this position. So tell me what you think about the geopolitical risk when it comes to Alibaba, when it comes to Tencent. Warren Buffett mentioned it. Mohnish Pabrai has mentioned it. We don't know. It can be a black swan event. Who knows what's going to happen? Are you willing to invest in China, guys? Please like and subscribe to this channel.